Your calendar alerts that it's time to talk business. Please welcome your host, Chris Peterson, with MedianReport.
Parcel business and the future of your letterbox. MedianReport welcomes Martti Kuldma, the CEO of Omniva Group, to discuss modern business models of state-owned post offices. Living the dream in Estonia, but actually not being in Estonia. What e-Residency can offer you and how the state budget benefits from the program established more than 12 years ago. And we'll discuss resilience of our businesses during civil crisis in the time of war. This is MedianReport, and we will talk. All the attention this week was on the newly approved government in Lithuania led by Social Democrat Inga Ruginiene. She had some loud headlines before and after she was accepted in the post. First, she opened a discussion about rising pensions for at least 12% next year. Her government partners from populist Nemunas Aušra have gone even further, suggesting 4-day work week and dismantle of independent corporate governance in public companies. Overall, people in Lithuania are feeling rather confident about their economy, though experts show cautious attitude towards disruption of the second pension pillar starting from the next year, which most likely will release about 4 billion euro from a total of 9 billion euro accumulated in the pension funds. It'll give a big boost to internal consumption, that's for sure, but what happens next is yet hard to predict. Estonian economists are warning the hangover can be serious and with long-term lasting effects. Fresh data from Statistics Estonia showing consumer prices fell 1.2% in September compared to August, mainly on cheaper food, drinks and fuel. Yet compared to a year earlier, prices remain 5.2% higher. Officials stress that this is only a preliminary estimate with the full data due October 7. Estonian exports stand out in Europe for a different reason: prices. Analysts note export prices are some 20% higher than neighbors, a surge unmatched across the EU. While Statistics Estonia insists its methods are sound, experts urge deeper comparison as high prices distort GDP by shrinking reported export volumes. Bank of Estonia voices skepticism, stressing common sense checks are needed. For now, the rapid rise leaves Estonia's growth picture clouded. Latvia's government has been shaken after the opposition party Latvia First forced a vote on supporting the Istanbul Convention, right in the middle of tense budget talks. What looked like a minor move gained weight when the coalition's farmer party sided with the opposition, signaling it may challenge the coalition agreement again. Meanwhile, under the current draft budget, Latvia's public debt is set to rise to 55% of GDP, raising concerns over debt maintenance costs. Business leaders are pressuring the government to curb spending and strengthen growth. On the household side, however, conditions remain rather stable. Lending is active, consumption is rising, and the wages are up, though much of the boost has come from the public sector. We are, of course, interested to talk about companies that work in all three Baltic countries. It's just a coincidence that this particular company is the third most loved brand in the Baltics, number 2 in Latvia, number 8 in Lithuania, and only top 9 in its own country, Estonia. I'm talking about Omniva Group, the state-owned postal courier and e-commerce logistics company. During the last 3 years, it has expanded international business like no other and has achieved leading positions when it comes to industry market shares in all three Baltic states. Although the serviced parcel volumes have grown, you will hear from the CEO of company, Mr. Martti Kuldma, the margins has been squeezed by price wars in the market. It can't continue like this for long, therefore he suggested a new business model to his board, from which one part is very controversial, crowd delivery service, and the other part, let's hear it from himself, Mr. Kuldma.
The first question is that should the state-owned company or the delivery company where the quality is important really go into this business model. And the main two risks what are usually brought out is firstly the security. If there is a risk that the couriers will steal or lose, and the second is really the how it might affect the brand if the quality is not there. But if we look into the crowd solution, then it's basically we have automated the background checks, onboarding, payments, and most importantly the quality control as well. So I would say that in a long run it is going to actually ensure the better quality, better prices than the classical delivery model.
So you mean that, for example, me as a person, I can onboard on your platform and also become a courier and start to work with you?
Exactly. And in Estonia, we actually had an article in Delphi, I think, where there was basically it was about the doubts that should the state-owned company do the crowd deliveries and mentioned all the risks. And what happened after this article was published was that we got more than 200 applications to become crowd couriers.
Yeah, you gave an idea to them. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes skeptics work in a good way. Yeah, you mentioned that this is just one part of the new strategy. Can you reveal also what you are planning next?
Yeah, in Baltics, it's very tough situation on the parcel delivery market. There are 5 or 6 bigger players depending on the country, and it means that there is a lot of new capacity in the market, and there is a price war ongoing. Of course, it's not just about the price; it's about the quality and also about the capacity to actually deliver bigger volumes. So what we are going to do regarding the delivery part, and then we are mostly delivering to the parcel machines compared to other players who are more into the courier service, is we are going to go closer to the customers. So we are going to build out close to home parcel machine networks with the personal and community parcel machines. So currently the parcel machine is something that you find next to the shopping center, and sometimes it's close to you, sometimes it might mean, especially outside the bigger cities, maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 kilometer ride. So we want to turn this experience around. So with the community machines, we are going much closer to the customers. Think about the village centers, bus stops, apartment buildings, like the same building we have here next to us. So each apartment building, instead of having this letterboxes, can have the parcel machine.
So basically, it goes both directions, in and out.
Yeah,
it can go.
And what we also see that the classical postal service will end up in the parcel machine as well. So instead of having your named letterbox, you are going to have the same experience that you have as a parcel. So if you are going to get the letter, then you will get the notification. You can actually do the redirection. You can hold it there, all that. So instead of what's happening now is that people are rarely checking their letterboxes, and in Estonia we had a complaint about there was this like presidential event organized by the president, and someone complained that they didn't receive the letter, or that letter was invitation was in their like letter box for 2 weeks, and they they received it after the event.
Oh my, yeah. This is a great innovation, of course, and I look into that, and of course, I think it will be a great success. On the other hand, what I see is that the parcel business, you mentioned it, it's a tough business, and so, but it's growing. It's growing. I see numbers. I look at the Omniva numbers, 8%, 15% year to year. I would say it's everything's fine.
Everything is fine if we just look at the volume, but if you look at the prices for the deliveries that we are getting from the e-shops, and if you look at the inflation, our like input prices, then the situation is not great. So the price per delivery has decreased about 2 times in the last 5-6 years. So for the bigger like e-commerce players, and it means that the margin that we're getting is getting like smaller and smaller, and then the efficiencies and also the volumes that you can handle are getting really important, whether you are above or below the bottom line.
Thinking about this next business plan or new business plan, you mentioned that the capex is going down. But at that point, OPEX is going up a bit, no?
Yes, it's yeah. We are definitely like, if we are talking about our own fleet, then we are converting it into OPEX. But with the current fleet, our current facilities, the problem is that demand is not fixed, and sometimes we have the cars driving for like 12, maybe like 14 hours, but we have days where they drive only like a few hours. And same with our like own couriers, who are sometimes they are overloaded, and then the next day or the next week might be that they have only like a few hours work.
So it's optimization and
yeah, exactly. And if you try to follow the demand with the classical model, where you then you need to like recruit and let people go like every day, so it won't work. And the other option is really to have those like long-term contracts with the partners, but they also ask for the guarantees and all that, so it's not so simple.
Maybe I'm mistaken here something, but I just very recently read that Denmark closed down its letter delivery service.
Yes, it was in the news, and it's not only Denmark. There are countries where either the letters or periodicals, the newspapers, or both are stopped. And the question is the same, or the reason is the same. I showed in my presentation as well, that the volumes in postal and periodicals are dropping about the same rate as the e-commerce is growing. So in Estonia, we had 15 years ago about 40 million postal items. And this year, private persons are sending less than 500,000 letters. And most of those are Christmas cards.
So no demand for
yeah, of course there are some like business letters. There are still some invoices or on invitations to court and stuff like that.
But can you put them in the category of parcel?
Yeah. So what we are like see that we need to do is we merge both the infrastructure and the services for the parcel and postal, and that way we can guarantee that the postal service will remain, but there is a sustainable like cost model to support it.
And you mentioned Bolt as a potential competitor who can actually very quickly switch gears and be a competitor to you.
Yeah, definitely. If I would be the CEO of Bolt, then definitely I would look into next logical step would be the parcel delivery segment.
Yeah, it's interesting why it's a tough business, or it's a business with some real specific knowledge that you.
The parcel business and food delivery are a little bit different, because in food deliveries or just in a taxi business, you have usually like one or two shipments or people you need to deliver from A to B. But in parcel business, if you want to have efficiency, then you need to actually have the volume, and you need to have the infrastructure to consolidate the volumes and do the sorting in the network. Otherwise, your cost would be basically just like the taxi cost to deliver any like package.
Yes, I wanted to ask also, of course, this one question about geopolitical situation and potential opportunities that can arise with it. In this case, China looking to our markets more maybe as something that they really now ready to explore. I mean, China parcel services, logistic centers. Of course, we are kind of all three Baltic countries dreaming that our country can become a center for Chinese letters, or not letters, but Chinese parcels that are coming to Europe and being sorted here. Is that a dream, or we still are dreaming it?
In next 5 years, I don't believe that they will come to the Baltics. We are just too small for them. So for them, it makes sense that they will first go, for example, to Poland, Germany, Italy, and so forth.
So even if we come together or offer something, it does not matter.
We have 6 million people here, so it's if you compare it to same to Poland, Germany, Ukraine, then it makes sense that they will go and investigate those markets first. And also geographically, we are in the dead end. Lithuania is maybe, but still, like if you compare Kaunas and Warsaw, then you are like already like 400 kilometers behind. Yes. If you start from Kaunas.
But do we have some geographical advantages which we can work on maybe and
yeah, definitely being between the east and the west. So the war with in Russia or the war between the Ukraine and Russia will end sometimes and somehow. We don't know, is it the next year, is it in 5 years, in 10 years? So definitely this is geographically, this is our advantage. And also if we look at the logistics, parcel logistics, then we can also extend the Baltic axis from Lithuania to Estonia to Finland as well. So and then looking to Finland and Baltics together, then it's already a considerable market.
Of course, you are in the management board, and this might not be a right question to ask you about Omniva in 5 years, but still, what do you see the company being still publicly owned, but with a very recognizable brand in the Baltics?
Definitely, we want to keep our brand position and also the market leader position for the parcel delivery. I'm very much dreaming about company being privatized. This discussion has been ongoing already for a couple of years, but this during the last 6 months, I see already the steps that might lead to the privatization in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yes, because I don't see a reason why a state cannot buy a service from you or different companies.
It's just 15 years ago, it was about postal. It still was a channel between the state and the citizen. Today, the postal part is really small. Communication is more than 95% in the digital channels already. And then also, if we look from the company's perspective, we need access to the capital to expand outside the Baltics, if the strategy says so, or even like inside the Baltics, we need to invest a lot into infrastructure for the parcel sorting, for the parcel delivery, and then also. It doesn't make sense that the state-owned company is actually competing in the same market with the private companies for the commercial services.
Yeah. Martti, it was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
A few weeks ago, I had the privilege to lead a pan-Baltic live discussion panel about the level of resilience of our businesses, industries, and economic infrastructure in the case of either civil accidents like floods or war. How businesses prepare for 0 hour, what procedures are in place, and that all we are discussing with a panel of leaders from private and public sector companies.
Maybe invite you to answer it as honestly as you can about your own respective industries, to give a little bit of a maybe overview how you feel and what your experience is, how resilient the industry and the businesses in these industries are currently in this situation.
I'm happy to represent the sector of food security. I'm representing the egg production company, egg producing egg and egg products. So from our perspective, I think when we talk about resilience, I think it's very important to underline that it's, in our understanding, it is about independence. That's a base for resilience, and more specifically, it's about, in the food sector, we talk about self-sufficiency. You can talk about it in many different levels. You can talk about your personal level of independence or self-sufficiency in different aspects. You can talk about the company self-sufficiency, about the Latvia self or country. You can talk about the Baltic scope. You can talk about the European to cover.
If you can give me a score from 0 to 10, let's say for this independence, how you feel right now, the
Which
Baltics.
scope? Like food?
Yeah, in
food
your
or
industry.
eggs? Eggs, we are 15.
All right.
From 1 to 10.
Happy
and
place.
I think food-wise, we are quite well prepared and self-sufficient.
Very good, very good. Nice to hear. Kristaps, let's go to you.
Every morning, Riga Water and 24/7, we are responsible that those people can realize that there will be fresh drinking water in their taps. And of course, on Saturday nights, all town responsible for beer in the taps. But to be back in serious questions, I think that I believe that we have made sound strategy for Riga Water, so we know exactly how to operate our infrastructure, how many kilometers per year we should rehabilitate, and we are in the right direction because currently we are rebuilding 5 times more each year pipes than before in different planning situation. And of course, drinking water, as I said to my colleagues, is a top priority in crisis.
What about energy and energy sector?
This is, in a way, backbone, or as we see it, more like blood for the economy. And in the current situation where we are constantly seeing a need to support the increase of funding for security systems, so the growth of economy is essential. And to meet the growing needs and to facilitate the growth of economy, it's just impossible without sufficient supply of energy. And actually, investors are looking for oversupply in energy for stable production, for competitive prices, and in the latest years also the question which is asked is that economy requires green energy, not just the energy, but green energy. And that's probably why I was invited to take part in this discussion, as I'm representing the leading company in Baltic region when we talk about renewable energy.
I think you both can answer the same question. Gediminas, maybe start with you.
Yeah, so I'll start with my elevator pitch for airports. For me, critical starting point is that in the Baltics, we operate in a way like islands what concerns connectivity. There is no alternative to aviation, and aviation is critical for investments and business interaction. So with all respect and criticism that goes to railway development like Rail Baltica or roads development, we don't really have alternative for connecting with critical partner markets for a business. So aviation is absolutely critical for that. Good thing is that pre-pandemic figures are back very quickly. So on the passenger traffic, in a very few years, we have statistics that is even better than it was before pandemic. So that's a good news. It means that people are really willing to travel, and remote technologies like Teams, Zooms or Google Meets, they replace for a while, but not forever, the relationship. I mean, and that covers both business and the leisure traffic. The difficult part of business today in investing infrastructure is that there is additional element of defense and military that is added on investments, on the requirements for the infrastructure, and it's expensive. So somebody should pay the bill. On the operational side as well, the situation is much more complex than it used to be. I should say all the topics around the drones and the airports is really a mess still. We see it from the public. At the Vilnius airport, we're getting from time to time duty-free cigarettes from Belarus with meteorological balloons. That's so airports are known for duty-free, but not that type of. So that's kind of makes the life more difficult. So my main statement is we need to continue to invest in infrastructure heavily. It's critical for economic development and resilience.
Can you specify which part of infrastructure? Like
the airport infrastructure, railway infrastructure, road infrastructure.
Overall,
I mean the transport infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the bill is more expensive.
Oh, no, thank you. And first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to this. I see also my old friend Darius is here. Good to see you, Darius. You asked about the status of our business. I have had the, what can I say, privilege to be working in Europe. I'm Norwegian, so I've been running 5 airports over there. I've been working in Africa, in Kenya, and been running airports in Kenya, and lately, last time I was working in Latin America and running airports in the Caribbean. I think our industry, if you look at the aviation sector in general, with all of these external shocks that we have gotten, these disturbances, and I'm talking everything from the war, I'm talking about the tariff from Trump, from the US government, and I also see, what can I say, people getting more careful about spending money, you know, and also we have, after following the pandemic and so on, we saw price increases and everything got more and more and more expensive. So if you're going to ask me to kind of give it kind of from 0 to 10, I would probably give it a 5, because I think that the margins are really, really slim. And I think that for the aviation sector, for the airports, for the airlines, and I think that we have gotten a lot of extra costs not thrown at us, but we need to take them, as the chairman was just mentioning here, about dual-purpose airports, dual-purpose infrastructure when it comes to military facilities, and so we are at kind of an inflection point or a changing point where we need to do differently than what we have done before. That's kind of, yeah.
Okay. Now, question to probably everyone, but for the one who has the answer, please pick up the mic. I know that you are, as entrepreneurs and leaders, are navigating through the jungle of different regulation. There are demands from society, from your clients. There are probably something that the government asks you to do in the times of pre-crisis or a potential crisis or something like that, because we remember COVID times and so we had some real life tests here. Can you maybe explain to someone out there who maybe do not really understand what it takes to navigate through this jungle? So how many balls are in the hand right now at this moment? So I know that energy sector is very, very tight with this all. Maybe Baiba, you can elaborate a little bit to just explain how it is and how many stakeholders, how many policies and everything you need to take in account.
Thank you. Really hard. It's really, it's definitely very, very hard and challenging. And we do understand also the responsibility that we have as an industry. To be more precise, currently, as you most probably all have heard and seen, the disinformation in respect of the renewable energy developments has really become a very hot topic. And the usual NIMBY movement is financed already and organized by not very friendly forces for our region and in general for, I would say, democracy. We as the industry enterprises, we are sometimes forced to cope with issues that actually are not related directly with our daily tasks. Then we invite consultants from security sectors now already to help us, which is most probably not usual situation, and we should be more focused on our direct tasks. But that's the new reality where we all live, and I think we are trying to cope as good as possible. The other balls we should jungle with is, of course, for Baltic region especially, the renewable energy industry is new, very new, and unmature, which means also the regulation, legal regulation, all the acts, they are not yet created properly, and we are therefore in constant changes of the regulatory framework due to the fact that just, yes, there is something in place, but then we understand on the highest levels, national stakeholder levels, that, oh, it doesn't work properly, we should change it, yeah, so, and that brings more and more challenges for us really on daily basis, but what I really want to emphasize is that the potential of the region is 7 times, to produce 7 times more than we need for our internal consumption. And as the leaders, we should understand this potential and use this potential and talk about this potential, because this is an opportunity to really foster the growth of the regional economy, to use this potential, which is given from the God, yeah, to our countries, and to be brave enough on political level to talk about this, to help people to change, to adapt to those changes that that the renewable energy will bring to the regions. Yeah, that yes, the landscape will look different, but this will give us incredible opportunities. This will strengthen our economy. This will strengthen our, I would say, this will assure the prosperity of the country and of course also our resilience. Yeah? So we will be able to pay for the food, for the water, etc.
I believe a very important element to understand is that in the last 3-4 years, the defense and security domain has shifted from kind of monopoly of the state to the companies a lot, and especially state enterprises. For example, sanctions control. The airport should know now about the suppliers much more than they used to know before. On the procurement level, on the everyday level, and it's a super costly exercise to do it because you need to dig into shareholding structures. It's super costly exercise because it prolongs your processes a lot because all the critical procurement deals are going for the national security approval, and then you should suddenly not buy from the suppliers that you used to have it. And at the end, I mean, the chemicals for the winter operations at the airport that we used to buy from Belarus, we're not buying, and it's double price now. So those elements, I mean, they are the reality. It's in everyday business that we see it. Sanctions control, it goes from the passenger traffic up to cargos and the procurement. And you need to incorporate this in your processes. So and it happened overnight. So let's say in 3-4 of last years, without being prepared, the companies just needed to do it by law.
Yes. Let's now switch to money question. So who picks up the bill? So we all know that preparedness is very costly, and everyone wants it, but no one wants this bill on desk. So what role, or maybe I will ask it this way, how long the private sector can maybe pick up this bill? And is there ways that you are also, maybe directions that you are looking for a potential supplement? Toms, maybe you.
Yeah, thank you, Kristaps. I think it is about, first of all, doing the right things in the right way. I think it is about being a strong owner to the things with a very high responsibility. What you do, how you do. It is very much about being efficient, about being effective, being able to compete. You need to invest a lot in your fundamentals of your own business to be the best.
This is a day-to-day situation.
Yes, but I think that's a good ground to start. It's not automatic in every mindset, because it is very essential to make sure that you have a solid fundamentals. When you can work on the efficiency, and this is and only then you can because you need the positive cash flow in order to then the next stage is to establish sustainable approach, long-term strategies that is also reflecting the demand, the society, what they will need from you as a business, and only in this way you can, you have to think. In our case, it is definitely the circular economy elements, such as not only producing effectively eggs, but also looking on the side products as a chicken manure, which we transform into the biogas and further into the biomethane. and we can secure the whole region with 100,000 megawatts of pure energy, which is locally produced. So, and this is about seeing your place in the value chain. It is, and this is where the money comes, in fact. When you demonstrate this readiness and strong ownership, also the investors and the banks see you as an attractive object, and they are willing to invest. And this is where I think the secret is.
So as many as these companies, very strong companies, we will have in the economy, so more and more we will have them, so more resilient the economy will be, and also the security situation as well, yeah?
Definitely, and this again, and the scale, of course, is another aspect. When we come to the self-sufficiency, you have to think big, you have to think outside your home market, and this is where you grant this resilience, both time-wise and geographically.
Yeah, I will ask this question to everyone, so you will all have chances. Yeah. So, Johnny, maybe.
No, I think who's going to pay for this? You know, I was thinking a little bit about that a couple of days ago, and I think what the analogy that you used, Minas, about the airports being an island. Now I'm talking airports here. You know, like if we, God forbid, that the Suwałki Gap is closed or it's been threatened, that we are surrounded here in the Baltics, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Our airports and our seaports will be our lifelines. That's our lifelines. And we have to make sure that we are able to handle that. And I think, in my experience, there was a lot for me to learn from Africa, actually, because they are focusing on resilience in a completely different way because they don't have the funds. They don't have the money to do what we are doing over here. And also, I think it's also very important what happens, for example, in the hurricane belt in the Caribbean. Just let me give you one example. The Hurricane Irma, that is kind of a category 5+, it completely ruined the island of St. Martin. The airport was closed, it didn't open for several weeks. And the whole GDP, the business on the island was shut down, basically. And the society was nearly shut down completely. You had everything from looting to health issues to everything that has happened. And we might face that. And that's what we need to we need to make sure that we are able to operate on a minimal, operational, viable level to make sure that our societies able to breathe, to keep the businesses and the economy alive, to be able to do that. And for that, we actually need to somehow fund it. And maybe we should look into something called a resilient fund. We should also look into maybe, I mean, if you look at Riga Airport, just to take one example, we are looking at, and I'm not saying that they're going to pay for it, but maybe we could look into something called a resilience fee per passenger traveling. I think it's 6-7 million passengers traveling out of Riga. Half is traveling out.
Oh, happy passengers.
Of course, happy passengers. But maybe €1, that will probably give you like 2-3 million euros, something like that. Then maybe we were able to collect something somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, resilience for an airport is about fuel. And I'm saying this in the right sequence now. Fuel, power, and people. Fuel, power, and people. You need fuel to run your generators if the electricity is gone. So you need to make sure that you have enough fuel. You need to have fuel for at least 5 days on top of what you normally are stocking up. And then you make sure that you have all the generators and that everything is working. So you are able to service whatever comes there. And then, of course, you need to have the people, the right people. And that's what I learned in Africa about how you train your people, the flexibility of people, and how they prioritize. What do we open first? What do we don't focus on at all? So there's a lot to learn, actually, from the island perspective. We are an island, and we need to handle it from a resilience point of view. And maybe we can also finance it with that in mind. But, of course, government needs to come into play, our allies needs to come into play, the European Union needs to come into play, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, also the operator of the airport.
I don't see, unfortunately, currently, our region as very attractive for foreign investors due to the current geopolitical situation, and we should just. This is the reality. So, and therefore, I would expect that the local investors are valued more from our governments, from our policies, perspectives, etc. Yeah? So, because that's where actually currently the funding is available for different activities. Yeah.
Okay. I think the first question could be for what to pay. And why I'm telling that, I like the example about fuel. The question is, if we all, as representatives of our companies, would say we should be ready for 100% in such scenario. But believe me, in the wartime, maybe there will be half of the citizens, but where they will go if there will be no fuel or good transportation system. So it means that there is a need for some special fund, military fund, conflict fund, who can, before that, play the scenarios and decide in which sector we need to add that and that and that to maintain order and lifetime in the wartime. So it means that we as Riga Water will be not sound to say that we need, I don't know, 1,000 electricity generators, that we need armed excavators, that we need, etc., heavy machinery, that we need 100 reliable fuel stations. There's no need for that. So because our service will be, I don't think, dropped by more than 80% in that scenario. So there should be the played scenarios and then decided how much money for each independent task do we all need.
And we finish up our show with an overview of the current state of e-Residency. That's a government-run program in Estonia started more than 12 years ago and gaining interest from digital nomads and people who want to have one foot in the EU business environment from around the world. It's been nothing else but a success, bringing almost 70 million euros in taxes and fees in the first part of this year. Numbers speak for themselves. In total, 130,000 people carry a digital identity card with 37,000 registered companies in Estonia. Most e-residents come from Ukraine, Germany, and Spain. This is a prime example of how a consistent work of a government agency can lead to good numbers for economy, and I wanted to emphasize it here on MedianReport. I had an opportunity to sit down with Ulane Vilumets, who's the head of business development division at the e-Residency during Nordic Business Forum in Helsinki.
Well, we were first in the world to even coin that term, e-Residency, right? Because we are a tiny nation, and trying to convince people to move over here with our weather. It's probably not going to work out. So I mean, in that sense, like being the first, building it on top of this, like, you know, existing e-Residency kind of, you know, services that are accessible with it, making it the brand has really made sense, because we have by now gotten, like, I might be mistaken, but I'm going to say nearly 500 million euros worth of advertising value equivalent out of this, like, nation brand of e-Residency. So definitely for the country, it's been a super powerful project to invest into, one of the best branding sources for our country out there.
Yeah, but you probably at the very beginning you also set up some KPIs in terms of numbers and income and everything. Have you reached those numbers?
So, like, we set them every year. Yeah. So, for example, this year we're pretty much over all our yearly targets already. Like,
oh, that's good news. That's
yeah. So it's in a way very exciting times, because we've been, like, overachieving this year. In the beginning, there was some hope that maybe we'd have like 10 million e-residents by a certain year, but that was set out as more like a marketing slogan, of course, and something to to get people talking about it.
Well, it's not unrealistic. If we look at like, it just needs to happen something, and here we have 10 million, no problem.
Well, now we're talking about this like EU Inc. or 28th regime in Europe to make European companies more attractive to grow faster. Then just think about it, if all of the startups in Europe would start using e-Residency as digital ID, we could easily get it.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure. From the e-residence that you have now, me included, what are the like the feedback? What they like about this, or maybe dislike? Have you probably testing results and asking questions and having polls?
Definitely. We do a lot of user research, but maybe like to a step back is that e-Residency itself is not the product; it's Estonia's business.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So like when we think of that as a product, then we see like two types of people who want to take advantage of this. So we got old European, big, steady countries where bureaucracy is just over the top, right? So those people, they come to Estonia to run their businesses in Estonia to escape the bureaucracy and the red tape. So we give them like a more transparent, better place where to build their businesses. And then there are people from outside the EU, such as Ukrainians, for example, UK entrepreneurs who need to have a foothold in EU or being registered in the EU will give them access to opportunities that they don't otherwise have, like investors or grants or things like that. So for them, like these are the problems that we solve.
You're saying that it's not a product, but in a way it is, because I received this very nice package with a book, a brochure and a card and everything. So in a way it is a product as well.
Yeah, just imagine if you would receive your email login with your password in a nice envelope.
Then I would feel like a real customer. But about pluses and minuses, and the feedback what you receive.
Yeah, so one of the things we are really working on a lot is that the technology of identity is developing around the world, right? So one of the things that we really want to get off the ground is being able to get rid of that nice little envelope that you received. This is one of the things that we really actually want to make obsolete.
Costs money.
No, not because of that, just because, it does take, logistics takes time, right? So like getting the card into the envelope and sending it to an embassy of Estonia somewhere around the world, that's something very time consuming. And if you can, just think about, for example, I don't know, like fintechs, where you log on and you pull the information in from business registry of your country and you have your business account live for your company the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. So like this is the speed everybody's used to. So like we really want to actually move on to like a mobile first solution and also remote capturing of the biometrics. So this is what is in the motion already.
Yes, I think that, and that's my only personal opinion, that of course it probably costs some money to send a package all over the world. But in a way, of course, it is nice to receive like an email and with a login code or so. But still, if you have this, I don't know, little key where you know that, I don't know what, but I can go to Estonia and unlock something. I don't know what it is, but there is this key, and I have this key. So if I live in Brazil, I receive a key from Estonia, not knowing what this key can unlock me in there. It's kind of an interesting
yeah, and deciding by how many people posted on LinkedIn as a photo like in front of our embassy, definitely it serves a branding value.
Of course, I think it's something that okay, let's talk a little bit of numbers. Of course, there is some influx of the money from the e-residents, also setting up companies, paying taxes and so on. How you see this developing?
So the economic value of the e-Residency program for us is I'd say manifold, right? Like the most direct impact to the state budget is not the fees actually, because the state fees, they are just like a cost and how much it costs to provide the service, like it's just to cover the cost. But so the tax impact that e-resident companies bring to Estonia by hiring locally, by building their companies, by paying out their profits to the shareholders. This is like the direct economic impact. And the last year that was 68 million euros. This year we are past that in the first 8 months. so it is a, you know, for a small country, it's a remarkable impact on our state budget, right? Then, like a wider layer is the fact that those companies, they use services in Estonia, right? So like the immediate circle is the corporate service providers, accountants, legal advisors, banking, like all of that. So this it's by itself is again jobs in Estonia, people who, you know, there's actually like a whole industry of companies that are serving e-resident businesses because they focus on the English-speaking, you know, founder from elsewhere, and they built up really nice technology-based SaaS products that are connected to the API of
I want to say here, thank you to Katri, to my accountant as well. So, yeah.
Exactly, and those companies are making an impact. And then again, like if you take it even wider, then like the advertising value equivalent, for example, is like one measure that we frequently look at.
Publicity and that stuff, yeah.
How many times we get mentioned in foreign media thanks to e-residency, so that's definitely like a big thing.
Politically, do you see that everyone's on the same page? I mean, all the parties and stakeholders and everyone, or are there also some backlash where some people are maybe not maybe against, but saying that this needs to be done differently or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think as a country, if we were a private company, we could take risks, right? We could try and grow as fast as we can, you know, just like, you know, go all in, right? As a country, it's a balance between risk and benefit. So in that sense, I wouldn't even say it's political. I think all the political parties are in a way supportive of the program because there's not a lot of ways a country can actually make money, right? So we can spend money on public services but not make money. So in that sense, I think all of the Estonian public opinion is very positive towards e-residency. But as a country, you also need to really kind of watch the trends and make sure that the risks are also mitigated, right? So how can we be sure that only entrepreneurs who have clean background, legit, you know, businesses. So how can we make sure that we don't bring any bad players into the e-residency program? And so that side is also a big pillar of how we run the things.
I assume that many countries have now turned to you and asked for some advice and everything. So do you see that there are more of these digital countries evolving in Europe or somewhere else?
Different countries are trying to solve different problems with these types of programs, right? So I think like Portugal, for example, is very occupied with the aim to bring more people into the country, right? So there maybe aim is not so much about like giving digital residency of your country, but trying to really motivate people to move to Portugal, which is, I've heard, working very well. They're offering a tax benefit, you know, and bringing people in. Then we have the Middle East, where they have these like free economic zones. They're, you know, telling you to, you know, bring your business here, like, you know.
I see a logic why, why they could.
They need to bring competencies, know-how from elsewhere, and money as well, right? So there are different aims that countries are trying to achieve. And Estonia is like has found its own little like niche in a way, which is, you know, basically empowering businesses to expand further, expand to your EU. So each country has their own little like, kind of niche in like what they're trying to do. They might all call itself somehow related to e-residency or electronic residency, but like the underlying targets might be very, very different. So it's not even comparable between the different countries, what they call e-residency.
Yeah, and if you look at in the future, what do you see? You already mentioned that you want to get rid of the cost-bearing things, but how about like future ideas and perspective?
Yeah, so this geographical reach for us is so limited at the moment. You know, it's limited with our embassies around the world, and because we are a small country, obviously we don't have that many embassies. So working on this like remote verification of biometrics and also the mobile-first solution is going to remove those barriers for us. So anybody from anywhere could actually take advantage of this. So this is one big thing that you know, I already mentioned those two, but like the reason why we really want to do them is because that will make it possible for anyone, anywhere really, to tap into Estonian e-residency. So it's not just the technology, but what it can do for us.
And you are probably looking into collaborations with different organizations who can help you to bring those people in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my role specifically is to work with like kind of outbound, you know, sales in different regions. So my team goes around the world and talks to entrepreneurs.
I am more than thankful to you for watching MedianReport, and I will be even more thankful if you would subscribe to our channel either on Spotify or YouTube. Please suggest business and economics topics to my email or comment section below this video. See you again in a week when, again, we will talk.
Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, join Median Premium Package for only $2.99 a month for exclusive content and full-length interviews. Find us also on Spotify and all the best podcasting platforms. Thank you for comments, shares, and likes. We appreciate them a lot. This has been a production by Standout.